Welcome to Awkward Yoga Recovery, where we spend just a few moments doing some recovery movements to help build some mobility and aid our recovery. So we're going to start in a child pose. So we're going to bring our knees wide, a little wider than shoulder width, and then bring your big toes together and sit your butt back towards your heels as much as you can. And then reach your hands out as best you can. The goal of child is to come down with your head all the way, but it doesn't matter how you do that. What we'll do is inhale and come up, exhale and set our butts back down towards the heel. Inhale up and exhale back. We'll do that one more time. Inhale up and exhale back. And then we're going to inhale, come up, and come into a Cobra pose. We're going to inhale, lift your hips up a little. Exhale, let them fall. I'll come sideways, up, and down. And you're trying to lengthen your spine. Good. Now we're going to inhale and exhale, come back to child pose. We're doing this as slowly as you can breathe. Inhale up, exhale forward into Cobra. Let the exhale just completely come out. Inhale and come back. Exhale, big toes together. And exhale down into a child pose. Inhale up. Exhale out. The whole movement is based on your breathing. You're inhaling all the way and then exhaling as you're coming down, and you're just letting the exhale come completely out. And when you're ready to take an inhale, start coming up and then start exhaling. So your knees are a little wider than they normally would be when you're in Cobra, which is just fine. Gets at a little bit more of your inner thigh muscles. Okay, so again, you're coming through here. And we do this for, several minutes of just moving back and forth to create the mobility, because you will find that you're able to come down a little bit farther, move a little bit more deeply into the pose each time you do it. And then we'll come up and we'll come into a seated butterfly pose. So the next two exercises are really focused on hip mobility. So in butterfly, and you can see that I'm exceptionally tight, which is why this is awkward yoga. I am keeping my soles of my feet together, and my whole goal is to be feeling this on the inside of my thighs. So I'm going to inhale, lift my knees, and exhale and try to let them fall. And that's all. I'm not trying to pull forward. All I'm trying to do, and I'm even going to have my hands back here because I'm feeling a little wobbly. Inhale, and then exhale. I'm trying to keep my torso straight and let my knees fall. So I'm kind of pushing a little bit with my knees. Inhale and exhale. Good. And inhale and relax your knees. Exhale. And if you can, keep your self upright. The closer you can pull your knees into your hips, the better. But again, you're not trying to pull yourself down. You're just trying to have your knees come out a little bit and feel a movement in your inner thighs that goes into your inside of your hips as well. Good. Now I'm going to come into a windshield, a seated windshield. I'm going to have my feet basically as wide as they feel comfortable in going. And bringing them fairly close. And what you'll see, you'll have to adjust this as we go. So what we'll do is drop, inhale, and then on the exhale, drop your knees. Holy tightness. I'm dropping my knees to the left, but my right knee is coming to my left ankle. And then inhale up. For girls and women, this tends to be an easier movement than for guys with very tight hips. Not always, but that's what it tends to be. But we're just trying to bring the inside knee to the inside ankle. Now you've noticed that I'm starting to do a little bit of a twist if I'm able to. So it's starting to almost become a 90-90. But the goal, regardless of how this works, is still to bring a knee to the inside ankle. Because we're going to be doing these again reclining. All right. Let's come down to the mat. We're going to do a reclining butterfly. So bring the your soles of your feet together. And just like a butterfly would imply, we're going to inhale, lift up your knees, and exhale and let them fall. And you'll feel this into your inside of your hips, inside of your thighs. So you can always take these recovery yoga sessions are typically, 8 to 12, 13 minutes. And you can always take certain poses like this progression of in and out and just do that. And do that depending on what your needs are. You might have really tight hips, and all that we're doing is trying to build a little bit of mobility into the hips, not flexibility, mobility, so that your joints have more range of motion. Okay, bring your knees up. This time, walk your feet out as wide as they will go. And now we'll do the reclining windmills. So I'm going to drop my knees over to the left on the exhale, and my right knee is coming to my left ankle. And then inhale up, exhale, left knee over to left ankle. My shoulder blades are staying on the mat. My hands are coming out to the side. And I'm going to be feeling this more in the outside of my hips, into my hip flexors. Basically, what's coming from my hip into my quad. That's what I'm trying to loosen up a little bit. There's actually a lot that happens muscularly in the muscles, in the fascia, in the joint when you do this. I am simplifying it greatly by saying we are creating extra mobility. But that's our goal. All right, good. Got it? All right, now I'm going to come over and roll over onto my right side. And you can see that my hips and my knees and my feet are all 90-degree angles, so that there's a definite movement here. So I'm on my right side, my left thigh is on top. I'm taking my right hand and putting it on top of my left thigh. And I'm going to reach forward with my left hand, and I'm going to inhale. And then on the exhale, I'm going to be coming back and letting my back of my left hand and the back of my left shoulder come to the ground. Then I'm going to inhale, lift them up a little bit, just a little. It's basically just to relax. And exhale, come down a little bit farther. You're letting gravity do the work. So, what do you call a dog that can do magic? A labracadabrador.
Abracadabrador. What do you call a magician who's lost his magic? Ian. Think about that. All right, let's go to the other side. Rolling over. Yeah, you get recovery and dad jokes at the same time. Bad puns. Okay, I'm on my left side. My left hand is now going on top of my right thigh. I'm reaching forward with my right hand, lifting up and over. You can see this side is considerably tighter. A little kink on my back right now. You're just relaxing. Your hand is here to keep your knee from coming up, so you keep your hip closed so that you're really just opening up your lower back. And that you're not trying to push too hard. That's the other thing. So we might normally end this with end a recovery yoga with this pose because it's nice and easy, and I feel like I got something to crack, but I'm not going to. All right, but we're going to end today with definitely a challenging one for me, and it's called a cow pose, but we're only doing half of a cow. So a cow pose, the full one, and if you can do it, go ahead. It's basically stacking your knees on top of each other. So I'm taking one knee and pulling it so that my right foot is into my left butt, and then I'm going to be bringing, and this is as far as I'm going to get, this knee, the goal of it is to come to that, but that's full cow. This is half cow. And as soon as you get into it, you will feel it in your hips. Where else am I feeling it? It's really on the outside of my hips. And I'm going to inhale and try to relax this a little bit. I'm, try to bring my knees up, and exhale. I'm going to be leaning into it a little bit farther. Actually leaning forward. And you will feel most definitely that this is a pose that is opening and working on the mobility of your hips. All right, now I'm going to untangle myself, and we'll see how this goes on the other side, which may be far worse, but who knows. Okay, so I'm bringing my right foot into my butt cheek. Yeah, this is going to be way worse on this side, but that's okay. You're going to see what awkward looks like. So the goal is to have both butt cheeks on the ground, and I can't even get that on this side, and that's okay. So my goal now is simply to come forward a little bit on the exhale, and I'm going to feel this in my hip and in my glutes. And then I'm going to see if I can adjust myself to get a little bit farther into it. So in some ways, this is like a pigeon pose where you are opening up your hips in different ways. And so I'm very consciously inhaling and then relaxing. And on the relaxing part, when I'm exhaling and I'm breathing into my belly and I'm exhaling back out through my nose, that kind of constant progressive pressure and relaxation helps open the muscles a little bit. Not a lot of it, but a little bit. All right, I am going to come out of this because it's getting a little uncomfortable, and that's not what I want for recovery. So I'm going to come back into a seated pose. Going to inhale, bring my arms up overhead, bring them together, and say namaste. Thanks for joining me.